Well, it's about 7 after the top of the hour. Well, greetings, ladies and gentlemen. Let's go ahead and get started with the evening. I want to thank you for joining us this evening for this sit and chat town hall session with the City of South Fulton candidate for District 3, and that's Benny Crane. Benny Crane is an insurance professional, an entrepreneur, a community advocate, and an independent thinker. Benny's approach to life and business is marked by innovative solutions and a fearless pursuit of excellence. And let me share a little bit about District 3. The City Council District 3 covers the Welcome area, Red Oak, Roosevelt Highway, Cliftondale, portions of Stonewall Tail Road, and some of those areas in between. And so without further ado, I'd like to go ahead and get started and introduce to you the candidate for District 3, Benny Crane. And we'll go ahead and open up with the Q&A session for the evening.
Hi, Ms. Adams, and thank you for all that are here. And I'm sure others will be joining us as the evening progresses. I really appreciate the opportunity to come to the citizens of District 3 so that we can talk about the opportunities we face as we are winding down early voting and the election day is but days away. We have a lot of work to do. There's a lot of heavy lifting to be done as we continue to get this city standing up vertically and to get over challenges and meet the opportunities that we face in years to come. So I'm excited about being here tonight. I look forward to entertaining the questions that you may have. And so let's get underway, Ms. Adams.
Absolutely. And then we'll also take some questions from our listening audience as well. But, I just wanted to start out with, just tell us a little bit about why it is that you're running for this office. Why do you want to be the next council person for District 3?
Well, that's a great question. I thank you for that. The reason that I'm running, ladies and gentlemen, is because, as you know, as many of you know, I was very instrumental in getting this city started, the first and the second time. So I care about this city, not just the district. I have a global approach to how I handle or move through this city and through this district. And when we started the vision, the opportunities were endless. And I saw a great oasis. But here we are 6 years into the new city being up and running. We're not where we ought to be. And I think we have a ways to go. And people are telling me, and I agree with them, that we need help to get where we need to go to make this city all that it could be. So I'm running because I believe that there's a need, an ever-pressing need for decorum, civility, professionalism that we can bring to this city council. Because when you have those attributes present, I believe that other opportunities will be bountiful. So I want to run to make sure that we will have a city that we can all be proud of. And we'll be in the news for all of the right reasons and not the wrong reasons. So I'm inspired still with all the things that are going on. I'm still inspired for the upside of this city and the great things that we can accomplish if we move together with unity and purpose.
Awesome. Well, I've heard many of our voters say that, but because the city of South Fulton is situated and it's located in the backyard of the world's busiest airport, how is your leadership going to change the direction of the city and add value?
Well, I think the thing that we have to do, and you're right, first of all, this is the world's busiest airport sitting right in our front door, back door, depending upon which way you're facing. And unfortunately, this is one of the few airports in the country where economic boom has not occurred around a major airport. Some things are beginning to happen over in our neighboring city of College Park, where you have GICC, you have hotels over there, you have um, an event arena over there. So a lot of things are beginning to happen, but it seems to hit a barricade like a brick wall when it got to the city of South Fulton. So what I hope that we'll have the opportunity to do is leverage the kinds of relationships that I have fostered for many years. I want to lead with diplomacy. I want to find common ground through diplomacy. And I believe once we have a reputation being a city that's open for business. We're not anti-business. We're not anti-anybody, but we want to open our doors for the kinds of opportunities. I believe that things will begin to change. Now, unfortunately, uh, a lot of people would be developers who would love to do business in our city. They've begun to shy away for various reasons. And I believe with the right type of leadership, particularly the kind that I'm talking about bringing to this city, I think that they will see the light of day and they'll turn around and they'll come back because the opportunities are here. They built out up north. So we are finally in a place where we can look for opportunities down here on the south side for something other than warehouses. I'm talking about Class A buildings. I'm talking about white linen tablecloth restaurants. I'm talking about good paying technology jobs, biotech. I think that the sky's the limit if we have the kind of leadership that's going to be a magnet for those kinds of opportunities. The doors are open and we should be open for business, even with the kinds of relationships that we're going to put forward.
Well, that sounds like a very viable plan. So let me ask you this. Share with our voters how you plan to bring relief to the taxpayers on both sides of South Fulton, west of Old National Highway and south of Old National Highway. How are you going to bridge that gap?
Well, listen, we are a very, very diverse city. We have urban, rural, and suburban, and no one's trying to change the culture of any parts of the city. Even in just District 3 alone, we have the same kind of diversity insofar as, the urban field, we have the rural field, so we want to make sure we cater to the needs of each of those communities, all the way over to Old National, whether it's Old National Corridor, whether it's Cliftondale, whether it's Sandtown, or whether it's Cedar Grove. This is a big city, a city that's over 110,000 people strong and nearly 100 square miles, just a small amount short of the square footage or the land mass of the city of Atlanta. So this is a big city and it's a big deal. So what I want to do, again, taking the global approach, not limiting my thought process to just this district, because whatever happens in this district affects other districts, whether you are adjacent in District 2 or 4, or wherever you may be, what happens to one happens to all. So I believe it's important to have the kind of relationship with the other council members that's representing those districts for them to know that I'm a partner. I'm not adversarial. I wouldn't be over here running a city. I would just happen to be the elected representative representing the district. So it's time out for each of us having our own little private fiefdoms, our own little private city. That's not what I'm about. I'm taking a global approach, and those city council members in District 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, and 7 will know that I'm a partner. I'm not adversarial, and in the ways that I can help and support them, it's going to be a help and support for all of the citizens of the city of South Fulton. And that's why I'm running, because it's not just this district that needs help. It's just so unfortunate that, the leadership that we have in this district is maybe perhaps an impediment to all of the city. And I want to bring a change to that so that we can bridge those gaps and do the kinds of things that we need in this city.
Well, some of that, and that was a twofold question. So, it was about bringing relief to the taxpayers on both sides of South Fulton. And then the part two was bridging the gap. But so I'm going to circle back and ask you how you're going to bring relief to the taxpayers on both sides of South Fulton,
Well,
all of
listen,
South Fulton.
yeah, well, from a tax-based standpoint of view, we all know that the bulk of the tax burden falls on homeowners, not businesses, but mostly homeowners. So the thing that we have to do, first of all, we have to be sensitive to the needs of the homeowners. That's why I want to keep, first of all, that's why we're having this meeting tonight, because it illustrates that I'm really concerned and I want to keep my ear pressed against the lips of the constituents. So here's what has to happen. Well, let me just give some context to this. Just recently, for over the past 6 years, the city council voted themselves a healthy pay raise twice since we've been a city just for 6 years. They voted to raise the minimum salary to $20 per hour for the rank and file employees. But at the same time, they failed to support the millage rate rollback. It wasn't until there was an outcry from the public that they finally rolled it back 50 basis points, a half a mil. So how do we bridge this? How do we help the regular homeowners slow down this runaway train? Well, with $70 million in the bank in reserve, that's what this city has. And we have over $206 million budget. This is the biggest budget in the region, other than, well, south of I-20, other than the city of Atlanta. This is a huge city, huge budget. So what we got to do, perhaps, we got to stop spending so much. We got to slow down this runaway wasteful spending. Let me give an example of runaway wasteful spending. When you have 7 different districts, they all have 7 back to school functions. They all have 7 Easter egg hunts. They have 7 fall festivals. Why are we having such redundancy? Why can't the city come to one place at one time and do these things, and then we don't have all of this duplication? When we stop the duplication, when we stop having 14 events scheduled for the remainder of this year at a cost of tens of thousands of dollars. We had an event just recently with $35,000, which was a small portion of it. We got to stop the wasteful spending. We got to roll back millage rate every opportunity we get. We have the highest millage rate of anybody south of I-20, and there's no need for that. I know we got a lot of build out to do to build a town center. We got to repair a lot of buildings that have fallen on disrepair. But we wasted the first 3 years by spending on ourselves rather than spending on infrastructure. So how do we get that relief to the people? We got to stop wasteful runaway spending, and we got to roll back the military every opportunity we get. And finally, we got to attract those businesses to come. Fortune 500, Fortune 200 or 100 companies come in, and they'll be the ones that we will be able to slowly shift some of the financial burden or responsibility over to them.
So let me ask you that. And we're talking about relief for some of our taxpayers. If you had an opportunity to weigh in on the trash bill and the way that all of that happened, we have some of the seniors who are crying out for help, who really don't have that extra money every year to pay that tax bill. Would you have done something differently?
Hmm.
And
Yep.
and how would you have handled that situation?
Yeah.
I'm just going to ask you that.
Yeah, I would have done it differently. And if I'm fortunate enough to be elected on November the 7th in January, I would talk to my colleagues, and we're going to talk about doing things differently. Here's what really needs to be considered. A lot of people had private haulers handling their waste. And I get it. I was one of them. We paid quarterly. There should have been a conversation, number one, with Dr. Arthur Ferdinand, who is the tax commissioner. We should have said, Dr. Ferdinand, are you positioned to bill the people on a quarterly basis so that the only thing that would be changing would be the hauler? The frequency of the way they're paying will stay the same. So you'll take that $221 divided by 4, and it'll be an easier pill this wall. That's the first thing that should have happened. They should have had that conversation. Absent that, here's what I would want to do. I would want to bring the billing in-house. Almost every city in the region that has a waste program, they handle it through public works. They have their own department capable of having that billing mechanism. So that would have helped to do that in-house. Then we could have more sensitivity toward the people and less angst about, I'm going to lose my home if I don't pay this, because at the end of the day, Dr. Ferdinand sees this as an unpaid tax bill.
Right.
So we got to fix that. There are some things that we can fix, but we have to be thoughtful about them and be a long range thinker and not think just in the moment. What can happen? What are the worst case scenarios that could happen in this rollout? I don't believe we have that deep level of thought.
Okay. Well, that sounds like something that's very doable. Let me pivot just a tad bit, and I want to ask you. See some questions in the chat, and it's says, with so much controversy and the dysfunctional leadership, unethical practices, and so on and so forth in the city of South Fulton, what's going to be different with your leadership, and how will you bring about change?
Well, that's the reason that I'm running, because this city that I love, is on the news too often for the wrong reasons. Tasers, hot mics, bullying, harassment, toxic work environments, federal lawsuits. All of those things are the direct result of somebody's behavior. So what will be different? My behavior is going to be different. I'm running on a platform of ethics reform. So if I'm going to run on a platform of ethics reform, I've got to behave in an ethical way. And I'm not going to behave in an ethical way just because I'm running on an ethics reform bill, a platform. It's just who I am, and it's just what I do. So you won't see incivility. You won't see me at a crime scene telling police officers how to do their jobs. Yes, that has happened on more than just a few cases. Can you imagine that? An individual who has not been through peace officer training, they're not CALEA certified, going to a crime scene, telling a police officer how to do his job. And quite frankly, they were successful. Those police officers did exactly what they were told to do by certain people who are elected. So things like that. I know my boundaries. Let me give an example of how one of the things is going to be different. I made, when we first started this journey, I came up with what I call the South Fulton United Pledge. And it deals directly with the issue around ethics. And I want to read it to you because I don't want to miss not one word of this, because I believe it's important. It says, I will not interfere with the city manager's duties. I will not bully city personnel nor my colleagues. I will perform my duties with professionalism. I will put the city's interests above my own. And finally, I will seek common ground through diplomacy. It doesn't seem like much, but why in the world does a candidate have to make such a pledge as if those things are not in place already? Well, they're not in place already. So that's why I'm running, and that's what will be different. You'll see a kinder, gentler city council meetings. So that's going to be a huge difference, and then we'll build on top of that. But that's where we start.
Awesome. So we're winding up. We're almost at the bottom of the hour, but I want you to just kind of leave the voters with some of your parting words for this evening. Tell them what you want to ask of them, and how they can reach you, and if they want to volunteer or make a donation to your campaign, how can they do that?
Well, thank you for that, and for those that took the time out of your evening schedule to join us, and I appreciate you doing so. And we're doing this tonight, I understand, in 2 or 3 sessions so that we can accommodate, the number of people who want to be a part of this. But let me say this. If you, a voter, had an alarm clock sitting beside your bed, and you go to bed around 10 o'clock and you sleep soundly all night long until 7 in the morning. But if at 3 o'clock every morning that alarm clock went off, alarm just blaring, waking you up every night, night after night after night, what would you do? Would you just write it off and say, oh, that's just the alarm clock? I don't think you'll do that. I think what you'll do, you'll get you a new alarm clock. I look at that alarm clock waking us up in the middle of the night, just like I do with the lawsuits that are coming in just droves, coming in because of bad behavior. We are spending tens of thousands of dollars investigating harassment cases. Those are the alarm clocks that are sounding in the middle of the night. I submit to you, you would not keep that alarm clock. You would get rid of it and get you a new one. So I urge you, consider the opportunities, because here's what's on the ballot, ladies and gentlemen. We have bullying on the ballot. Vote no. We have incivility on the ballot. Vote no. We have a hostile work environment on the ballot. Vote no. We have hostile work environment running the police department like it's your own on the ballot. Vote no. And once you voted no, then you vote yes for Benny Crane to be the next councilman for the 3rd district of the city of South Fulton. Change is coming. If you want change, you can reach me very easily by going to my website, which is bennycrane.com, or you can call me directly at 404-317-7283. And I have an ask. On election day, next Tuesday, we need poll workers. You know how we go to the poll and you see people standing at the curb, holding signs, wearing T-shirts, making noise for the campaign. If you want to be a part of that brigade, reach out to us. You can email us, you can text us, you can go to our website and sign up for volunteerism. We need you. We need you to join us so that we can make the changes that are needed. This is a seminal moment. We won't get another chance like this. This is our time. So go to the poll. Of course, early voting continues on tomorrow through Friday. Saturday and Sunday voting ended this past weekend. So we got 4 days left of early voting, and then we got next Tuesday. But join us. Meet us at the poll. Join us on the team. Make contributions. You can go to my website again to do that at bennycrane.com. I thank you so much, Ms. Adams, and I thank all of you that have decided to tune in tonight. But this is not the end of the conversation. It can continue long beyond tonight. Just reach out to us and we'll be able to answer more questions. And if there are any questions left unanswered, but go to the poll, take a friend, take a relative, and vote for Benny Crane, your next city councilman for District 3 in the great city of South Fulton.